Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet. Voice you know with the news you trust studio, sponsored by Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution. I'm Dale Menyo. Well, a key component to determining whether El Nino or La Nina are happening in the Pacific Ocean is pointing in the direction of La Nina. A reading of 10.40 on the 30-day calculation of the Australian Southern Oscillation Index for April 7th places this measurement in La Nina territory. The component is the Southern Oscillation Index. The SOI is defined by NOAA's Climate Prediction Center as based on the difference in air pressure anomaly between Tahiti and Darwin, Australia. Measurements of the SOI on file at Queensland, Australia's government Long Paddock website date back to the 1870s. The SOI 30-day average values greater than +7 indicate La Nina. The SOI along the sea surface temperature conditions determines whether the equatorial Pacific Ocean is a La Nina, an El Nino, or neutral. A look in 2025 at the SOI early April 30-day values shows that this feature is pointing in the direction of La Nina. The 30-day SOI value on April 7th was plus 10.40, which is greater than the La Nina benchmark reading of +7. This reading suggests that the large-scale winds in the atmosphere are in a La Nina pattern. Effects of La Nina on U.S. crop weather are quite well known. The two most notable effects are drier conditions in the southwest and the southern plains and wetter conditions in the eastern Midwest and the Mid-South. Recent extreme events, including dust storms in the plains during March and heavy rains and deadly flooding in the northern Delta and Ohio Valley during the first few days of April, offer examples of how La Nina may have factored into these events. Today's weather brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
Very wet weather settling in for the Buckeye State. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin with a look at that Ohio Ag weather update. It's warmer today, but moisture's coming in from the west and southwest. Scattered rain showers, a few thunderstorms through the daytime hours today. I think we light up with some strong to severe weather overnight tonight through tomorrow. Rain potential upwards of 2 inches pretty easily. We see another surge of moisture overnight tomorrow night into early Friday. We take a little bit of a pause, and then we see more moisture coming for Friday night through Saturday and Sunday. I think between now and the end of the weekend, we can easily put down 2 to 5 inches of rain across the entirety of Ohio. It's going to be very, very soggy. Once that moisture moves out Sunday night, we see cold air come in. That's going to feature a lot of clouds for Monday into early Tuesday. We see sunshine for Wednesday, Thursday, but we're definitely chilly. Temperatures start to moderate toward the end of next week, Thursday night into Friday, just in time for some more moisture to come in. An upper level low sits and circulates for Friday night through Saturday and Sunday. This is next, the 12th and 13th. And then we're looking at a very chilly start to the week of the 14th again. So roller coaster ride on temperatures, more cold days than warm, and definitely a lot of moisture coming through. That's a look at your forecast update. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. The international trade is essential to U.S. pork producers and to the communities where we live and support. Our ability to trade freely is critical and vital, said Dwayne Statler, president of the National Pork Producers Council and a pork producer from Macomb, Ohio. We trade with business partners, and those relationships depend on trust, certainty, and stability. America's pork producers are engaged at the highest levels of government in the U.S. and beyond. Regarding trade, pork producers are conveying industry priorities in 3 distinct subject areas, underscoring and emphasizing the critical importance of international trade for pork production, our vigorous opposition to retaliatory tariffs charged against U.S. products, and barriers to market access in many locations continue to impact the industry's ability to serve the ongoing high demand for U.S. pork. America's pork producers have long fought for free trade and fair trade, knowing that we can provide a high-quality, safe, affordable protein that is in demand, Statler said in that message, and the goal, we are unwavering. Let's check in on this week's numbers for the Buckeye Temp Tracker. Here's Joel Panorwood.
Time for our weekly Buckeye Temp Tracker update, which we take a look at soil temperatures around the state. It's brought to you by B&A Genetics. Real service, real results. In the numbers, let's start in Morrow County. Corn stalks see us under 30 degrees, while our bean stubble field there, a reading of 32 degrees. Perry County, 39 degrees for their corn stalk field, and the 37-degree mark for bean stubble. Fayette County seeing a corn stalk field of 42 degrees and our bean stubble field of 39 degrees. And Mercer County, both their corn stalk and bean stubble fields that they're keeping track of under 30-degree soil temperatures. As we plot those out on our graphs, all readings this week below that of last week. Not the direction farmers wanting to head, but looks like warmer temperatures here on out. We'll keep you updated on soil temperatures each week with the Buckeye Temp Tracker, thanks to B&A Genetics. I'm Joel Panorwood.
And thanks, Joel. Stay ahead of soybean farming with the latest research and insights. Follow the Ohio Field Leader program at ocj.com, brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Council and their checkoff. Well, the Trump administration's chief trade negotiator defended the president's tariff plan set to take effect today. The U.S. Trade Representative, Jamieson Greer, holds on to his agency's report on trade barriers during a U.S. Senate Finance Committee hearing yesterday. Greer said the Trump administration tariffs are needed to help reduce a $1.2 trillion global trade deficit. He also said nearly 50 countries have already reached out to negotiate deals. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer testified before the U.S. Senate Finance Committee, drawing attacks from Democrats over tariffs, while some Republican senators also voiced skepticism or expressed concern about businesses and agriculture in their states. Greer also pointed to tariff disparities that have led the country from an agricultural trade surplus in 2021 of $5 billion to an agricultural trade deficit of $38 billion in 2024, according to USDA. Greer noted that the average U.S. agricultural tariff is 5%, while India's average is 39%. There are also disparities in particular products, such as Brazil charging an 18% tariff on imported ethanol, while the U.S. tariff is 2.5%. The U.S. has both a trade agreement with Australia and a joint defense agreement, but still imposed a 10% tariff on Australia. Greer pointed to beef and pork, citing Australia exported nearly $3 billion in beef to the U.S. last year, but buys no U.S. beef or pork. And in the energy sector, oil futures bounced back Tuesday morning after hitting multi-year lows for the last three consecutive trading sessions amid trade tensions due to global tariffs and expectations of a potential recession in the U.S. and a global growth slowdown. Traders remain focused on the impact of a 10% global tariff levied by the United States on all countries, which became effective on Saturday, April 5th. The front-month WTI crude contract for May delivery in the New York MEX rose by 75 cents to $61.45 a barrel, while the June ICE Brent futures contract increased to $64.89, up by 68 cents from the previous trading session. Downstream, the front-month RBO futures contract climbed by 2 cents. And in contrast, the U.S. dollar index weakened by 0.2% to 102.77 against a basket of foreign currencies. The confirmation that OPEC Plus countries were offering additional oil production of 2.2 million barrels starting last week is expected to continue putting pressure on the oil futures markets despite the rebound seen. Back with more after this.
Every time you use biodiesel, you're fueling more than your engine. You're investing in Ohio's farmers, reducing emissions and creating cleaner air for all of us. Did you know biodiesel adds 13% in value to every bushel of soybeans grown? That's good for farms, good for families, and good for the future. Drive with purpose. Choose biodiesel. Learn how at soyohio.org. Every time you use biodiesel, you're fueling more than your engine. You're invested in Ohio's farmers, reducing emissions and creating cleaner air for all of us. Did you know biodiesel adds 13% in value to every bushel of soybeans grown? That's good for farms, good for families, and good for the future. Drive with purpose. Choose biodiesel. Learn how at soyohio.org.
Today's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. For marketing information for your soybeans to LDC, call 574-566-2113. With your analysis, here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished the Tuesday period mixed. We saw higher wheat prices in Chicago, Kansas City, and Minneapolis. Corn up on old crop, down on new. Beans up on old crop, down on a new. The markets were fully stronger all the way through a large chunk of the trading day on Tuesday. But then we had more tariffs put back on China. Beijing missing the Trump administration's deadline to remove the 34% retaliatory tariff. And so now a cumulative 104% tariff is on. It went on at midnight, 12:01 this morning, and will hold now through who knows when. This is going to be an escalation of the trade war. We saw the stock market that had been trading higher, trying to bounce nicely after several days of down trade, turning around, going lower, a good 700, 800 points going into the close. So we're definitely seeing this have a whipsaw effect on the markets. Yesterday also, exporters officially sold 240,000 metric tons of U.S. corn to Spain. That again bolsters the old crop position on corn all the way through this tariff debacle. Old crop corn has remained strong on Mexico's non-inclusion in any additional reciprocal tariffs. And then this sale to Spain, it definitely helping here. Moving back to the tariff situation, the administration is hinting that many nations are seeking negotiations. A call yesterday between President Trump and the South Korean leader reportedly went well. Details were not put out, but it sounds like that is going to get to some form of agreement at some point here going forward. The uncertainty in the marketplace is probably the biggest issue as we approach the Wednesday trade. Spot crude traded yesterday lower again, maybe being able to print a 5 in front of that number before the week is through and stay there as well. So it was mostly a whipsaw trade day yesterday. Today will likely be the same as we get some trade deals done, maybe, but the Chinese elephant in the room is continuing to be talked about. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. I'll look at the overnight figures after this. Attention, Ohio businesses. Join the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation for the 2025 Ohio Safety Congress and Expo, April 16th through the 18th at the Greater Columbus Convention Center. Connect with industry experts, have hands-on training sessions, explore cutting-edge safety solutions with over 300 exhibitors. Whether you're looking to reduce risks, enhance productivity, or build a stronger safety culture, the Ohio Safety Congress is for you. Register at www.ohiosafetycongress.com. It's free. Today's market is brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Overnight at the open, May corn up 1.5 at 470.5. December up 3/4 at 446.5. And March up 3/4 at 458 3/4. Beans struggling a little bit. May down 1/4 cent at 992.5. November down 1.5 at 976 1/4. January down 3/4 cent at 990.5. Wheat recovering a little. July up 1.5 at 555.5. September up 1 1/4 at $5.70, and December up 2 1/4 at $5.93. In livestock, April cattle up 17 at yesterday's close at $199.10. June down 55 cents at $193.62, and August down 7 cents at $190.45. Hogs are mixed, with April up 2 cents at $87.82, May $84.60 up 52 cents, and June down 27 cents, closing at $89.77. May feeder cattle, $271.72, up 45. August feeder cattle down 45 cents at $277.60. That's the latest look at the markets. For more ag news and the latest in our developments on weather and updates, check it out online at ohioagnet.com. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dale Menyo. This is the Ohio AgNet.